Note 6b. Vertex form. Objective. I can convert standard form to vertex form, convert factored form to vertex form, and write a quadratic function in vertex form using a graph. Essential question. What are the advantages of having a quadratic function in vertex form? What are the disadvantages? While you're doing the notes, I expect you to join this Pear Deck and contribute to the slides. Watch this video, fill out your foldable, and ask questions as needed. Drag 3 icons to answer these questions. Which do you feel most comfortable answering? Drag an icon over one of these. Which one would you like to talk about the most? Tell me something about yourself. What do you know about our company? What do you know about the position you're applying for? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And why should we hire you? Which one are you most comfortable with answering in an interview? Drag another icon over answering tips. Which do you like? Which do you do the most? Do you maintain eye contact? Avoid saying things such as basically, actually, like, so, all that kind of stuff. Smile. Be courteous and professional, or tell stories, only cite examples from your previous work experiences. And then drag the last icon over which is most important for you to know. What do you like most about working for this company? Tell me about the culture. How will I be evaluated during my first 3 months? Why is this position vacant? Why do you think job applicants choose to work here rather than your competitor? And what are the next steps? So which do you think is the most important for you to know? Vocabulary. Here's the key vocabulary from this section that you need to become familiar with. Vertex, a corner or point where two or more lines, curves meet. Plural would be vertices. Vertex form, a parentheses x minus h squared plus k equals f of x. Standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals f of x. Factored form, a parentheses x minus r1 times x minus r2 equals f of x. Coefficient, the quantity of a variable. Equation, a number sentence where two expressions are equal. Let's do this example. Vertex to standard. So here's the steps you want to do. First, you want to expand the x minus 1 squared term. From here, you're going to do the box method. Let's do x minus 1, x minus 1. We're finding the area of all four boxes and then combining like terms. X times x is xx. X is the second power. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. Combine these two terms to get negative 2x. So we're going to rewrite it. Negative 2 parentheses x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 3. Next, we want to distribute that negative 2 into each term. So then we have negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 2 plus 3. And then the last step, we want to combine like terms. So we could combine these two. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. So your standard form would be negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. That is your standard form. Okay, now you try this. Drag the icon which answer choice you think this is. F of x equals negative 3 parentheses x minus 1 squared plus 5. Follow the steps from the example and see which one of these answers you get. Drag the icon over which was the answer. The yellow thumbs up over the correct answer, and then the red frown over the answer that definitely is not. Identify the vertex. So we have a 5 and a negative 4. So this is our h value, this is our k value. It's the opposite of what it has here, so that's negative 5 and then negative 4. So we have change, keep. So change signs, keep signs. Vertex of this graph would be this extreme value right here. It's a minimum. The extrema is a minimum. So this vertex is 1, 2. So 1, 2 is your coordinate point. Okay, now you try this one. Choose an option. What is the vertex of f of x equals x plus 6 squared plus 1? On this one, we're going to write the vertex equation. First, we will identify the vertex. It's the same vertex as before, 1, 2. We were given that a equals 1. It's a positive number for 1 because opening upwards. And then from 1 to 2, it looks like it goes up by 1. That's why we have a 1 here. Sometimes they'll give it to you, and sometimes you have to solve for the a yourself. So the equation, the vertex form equation is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. So we have y equals 1 parentheses x minus h, which is 1, squared plus 2. That's our equation. Of course, we don't have to write this 1 out here at the front, since we could assume that's a 1 there. Okay, now you try this one. Write the vertex equation given this vertex and given a equals 5. So draw or type your equation right here. Use the previous slide to help you with this, from this example to help you with this one. Here's an example where they don't give you a, you have to solve for it. Write an equation that has a vertex of 0, negative 4 and passes through the point 2, 8. So we have a vertex of 0, negative 4, so that's h, that's k. And then we're going to put x here, we're going to put a y here. Now it passes through the point 2, 8. So before we find the equation, we're going to have to solve for a. So this is x, this is y. So we're going to solve for a. So 8 equals a parentheses 2 minus 0 squared minus 4. Let's simplify. We have 8 equals a parentheses 2 squared minus 4. 8 equals 4a minus 4. Add 4 to each side. 12 equals 4a. Divide by 4 on each side. So a equals 3. So your equation will be y equals 3 parentheses x minus 0, which you don't have to write that, squared minus 4. Now you try solving for a. Write an equation that has a vertex of 0, negative 1 and passes through the point 3, 17. Draw on the slide and perform the steps that are similar to those from the example. Factor to vertex. So we have the factored form f of x equals a parentheses x minus r1 times x minus r2, where h is r1 plus r2 over 2, and k equals a parentheses h minus r1 times h minus r2. Here it is as an example. We have f of x equals x minus 2 times x minus 6. So to find h, we will first identify r1 and r2. r1 is 2. r2 is 6. So h is going to equal 2 plus 6 divided by 2. That's 8 over 2. That equals 4. And k equals a, which is just 1 in this case. So we have 1 parentheses 4 minus 2 times 4 minus 6. So that would give you negative 4. So your vertex is 4 comma negative 4. Standard to vertex by completing the square. We have 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 equals f of x. Your steps are first to divide everything by a. A is 2, so we're going to divide each term by 2, even the other side of the equation. So then we have x squared minus 2x plus 3 equals f of x over 2. Move c to the other side, so we're going to do minus 3 on each side. So x squared minus 2x equals f of x over 2 minus 3. It will add b over 2 squared to both sides. b equals negative 2, so b over 2 squared would be 1. So you'd add 1 to each side. So then you have x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals f of x over 2 minus 2. Because negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Factor the left side to get x plus b over 2, and then all that's squared. So you have x, and b over 2 is negative 1, so we have x minus 1 squared on this side equals f of x over 2 minus 2. And then to get it into the proper form, just move everything back to the other side of the equation except for the f of x. So then you have x minus 1 squared plus 2, and then you multiply everything by 2. So we have 2 right here and 4. Here's how you would do this with the boxes. So after you've divided everything by a, you have x squared minus 2x plus 3 equals f of x over 2. So x squared, we'll write right here is this algebra tile. And then negative 2x, we have this tile right here. X squared is x times x. Negative 2x can be broken into 2 pieces. If you break it in half, you get negative x and negative x. Well, negative 1, multiplied by. So you have negative 1 plus negative 1 is negative 2, and then multiplied by x. So the length is now negative 1, and the width is still x. Now we're going to put those 2 red rectangles together, with each of these having a length of negative 1. And then we have to complete this new bigger square by adding this little yellow square right here. Now, negative 1 and negative 1 is the length and the width. So the area has to be a positive 1, because that's the area. Negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. So your factored form would be x minus 1 and x minus 1. x minus 1 squared. And then from there, you would just add the 2 back over and multiply everything by 2. You get the same thing. Okay, now let's find the vertex using the vertex formula. The 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 equals f of x. You will use this formula right here. H equals negative b over 2a. Well, a equals 2, b equals negative 4. So let's plug that in. Negative 4 over 2 times 2 equals 4 over 4. That is 1. And then let's plug 1 in to the expression here to evaluate to get k. So we have 2 parentheses 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 6. That equals 2 minus 4 plus 6. 8 minus 4 is 4. That's your k value. That's the same vertex as what we got before. Change, keep. Okay, now you try this. Find the vertex using the vertex formula. We are writing on your screen. Make sure you identify A, B, and negative b over 2a, which is h. Plug this number into the formula to get k. How do you feel about this topic? Can you explain how to do it? Do you know how to do it? Is it getting familiar? Or are you not sure yet? Drag the icon on how you feel about this topic. On the last slide, go ahead and write your reflection. What are the advantages to having a quadratic function in vertex form? And what are the disadvantages?